With Libra, it's either the peacemaker of the Zodiac because everything has to always be fair, or it can be they're way too indecisive because they fear of making the wrong decision and creating disbalance. However, if you have ever been in a socially uncomfortable situation, for example, a couple fighting with each other and you were caught in the middle of it, you would have wished for a Libra. They have a way of de-escalating a tense situation in such an elegant way that everybody feels like they have won. And even though it might take an extra moment for them to decide, it is usually worth the wait. Hello and welcome back. If you're new to the channel, my name is Jada. In this series, we're diving into the different signs of the Zodiac as a tool for self-discovery. As I mentioned in the introduction video, we are not just one Zodiac sign, but we have all 12 Zodiac signs inside of us. So it's not so much about figuring out which Zodiac sign am I, but rather how does each Zodiac sign show up in my life. So if you haven't watched the introduction video yet, I suggest you do. It will give you a better understanding of this series. The first introduction video is a more general one that gives you an overview of the series and how we have all 12 Zodiac signs, while the second introduction video explains to you how a Zodiac or what a Zodiac sign is made of, the different parts, the modality, the polarity and the element, which would be especially helpful if you are new to astrology. Libra is a positive cardinal air sign. As a cardinal sign, it initiates. As an air sign, it desires communication and relation. This combination leaves Libra with the desire to be in relationship with someone else. That relationship usually happens on a mental level, so it's not so much about an emotional relationship. This would be more like a water element, or a physical relationship. It would be more of an earth element. And as a cardinal energy, it seeks out those relationships. Unlike Gemini, who is a mutable energy, it kind of gets drawn to those encounters because it's like one moment it's here and the next moment it's there. But the Libra is the one approaching someone else and initiating that encounter, and Gemini kind of gets drawn into it. Said differently, Libra will be the one calling on people and bringing people together, while Gemini will be in a bar and it's kind of, it hears something interesting and it approaches someone and the conversation starts from there, but it's not necessarily that they called someone up and made plans with that person. In terms of phrase, Libra is associated with the phrase I balance, showing its ability to balance everything out and making it fair, but also the struggle because a perfect balance never really exists. And as mentioned in the Gemini video, the air signs have either an object or a person representing its sign, showing its connection to the intellect. Also, Libra season starts at the end of September, when the night and the day are equally long. Again, highlighting Libra's role, but also ability to balance things out. Also, since Libra is represented by the scale, which is an object, it shows that it's not a very emotional sign. It's a very logical and a little detached sign because it looks at things from an objective point of view. This is also why Libras have a very civilized nature to them, because they are not swayed by their emotions, which is both its blessing and its curse. It's its blessing because we need that civilized nature to have a functioning society, but at the same time it can leave us out of touch with our human nature, with our emotions and with our instincts, which simply is part of being a human. So we need that ability to connect to those parts as well. However, it's also that civilized, detached nature that allows Libra to find great compromises between opposing parties. Unlike Virgo, where we have this serving and devoted energy, which usually means someone does something for someone else. So even though it's not a disbalance in the sense I am less than you, but it is a disbalance in action, like someone does something for someone else. And Libra balances it out again, bringing people on eye level again. So it's like, you're not better, you're not less, we are on equal footing, and it's about finding common ground with one another. And it's exactly that need for balance that leads them to being indecisive, because they constantly weigh weighing out the con and the pros, and they are out of touch with their emotion and they get stuck in their head. So sometimes being in touch with our emotions is what can lead us to making the decision because we realize our own need. However, if we are constantly in our mind and constantly worried about creating balance, we kind of disregard our own needs. However, it's not so much that a Libra doesn't know what it wants, it's rather that the desire for balance and things to be fair is so strong that they are like, okay, I got this need and I want it to be that way, but I want it to be balanced and equal as well. And it's like, how do I bring those things together? This is also why Libras are considered the bridge builder of the zodiac, bringing opposites together, like opposite people, opposite opinion, and it's about finding common ground. In order to do that, Libra is a little more reserved and doesn't show its cards easily out of fear of creating misbalance, saying the wrong thing that could tip the scale. However, at the same time, Libra needs an opposite in order to find balance. So it's about noticing the disbalance that usually comes in form of a situation or of a person that allows them to notice it and then recreate that balance. And here can also be the paradox with Libra, because they often find themselves in those disbalanced situations or warlike situations where they have to find that diplomatic approach to create like common ground. On one side, they dislike the fact that they find themselves in the situations, and at the same time they kind of need it, because if you think about it, if you don't have a disbalance, there's nothing to weigh out or to balance out. So it's this paradox of wanting things to be constantly equal, but something like that doesn't even exist, and in order to even have balance, you have to experience the disbalance as well. The other reason that they often find themselves in those warlike situations is because they fear confrontation. Due to their high need of balance, they're avoiding uncomfortable confrontation or uncomfortable conversations. However, by holding back and avoiding a topic that needs to be discussed, they kind of create that disbalance themselves. If we compare Libra to other signs, for example with Taurus, they both are ruled by the planet Venus, the planet of beauty. So with Taurus, it shares that desire for the finer things in life. While Taurus is about the physical experience of those luxury of life, of the good things of life, with Libra, it's often the aesthetic, making things beautiful. They are very symmetrical because things have to be in balance. This is also why they are usually very tidy compared to Virgo, who is more about cleanness. Libra is more about tidiness. It's about having an aesthetic, pleasing environment. And this can show itself in home environment, like the way they decorate their home, but also in terms of how they dress, for example. If we compare Libra to Aries, we notice that it's the opposite sign. While Aries is the first sign of the zodiac, Libra is the 7th sign of the zodiac, meaning it's like 6 months later. And as mentioned in the Aries video, the zodiac represents a journey. So with Aries, we have the most selfish sign, and with Libra, we have the most social sign. So Aries is all about ourselves and the relationship with ourselves, while Libra is all about the relationship with others. Also, as the second air sign, it shows its evolution from Gemini. While Gemini is all about gathering information and being concerned with what it finds interesting, Libra uses its air element that is connected to the mind to create harmonious relationships. So we have the one-on-one. Therefore, Libra is diplomatic, aesthetic, people-pleasing, indecisive, charming, and socially skilled. As usual, I don't want you to categorize those traits into good or bad, for any negative trait has its positive and any positive has its challenges. I think by now you should know the phrase by yourself, but I will keep repeating it just to really get the point across. For example, weighing all sides can lead to a just and fair decision. However, on the other side, it can also lead to frustration because the perfect solution doesn't really really exist. So I want you to think of all the characteristics you have heard throughout the video, and I want you to think of the positive that it brings and the challenge that it brings as well. Also, I want you to think of characteristics that you have identified yourself with and that you might be demonizing yourself for no reason. Where someone has told you that this is a negative trait for whatever reason, even though it actually isn't. It's just that they for some reason don't agree with the trait, but the trait itself is not bad and it doesn't have a negative impact on others. So I want you to reflect on that and decide for yourself, like, how do you want to handle that? In terms of personal example, Libra energy is not very strong inside of me. I have a strong sense for fairness and justice, but it comes more from an Aquarius energy than a Libra energy, because I am not a very diplomatic person, to be honest. I am very straightforward and to the point, so I kind of lack this fineness that Libra displays. And I actually have an aunt who is Libra, and I am always baffled by how elegantly she de-escalates tense situations where there might be a more intense discussion in the family, and she can make a remark in such a funny and non-offensive way that it kind of takes the tension out of it, and everybody calms down and can maybe even laugh about the situation, and the tension basically is gone. And one of the things that I noticed that is different from the way I approach things, because I'm so straightforward, is that she does it in a more reserved way. The things that she might be saying is still very direct, but it's not attacking. It's like, I don't even know how to describe it. She says something, the way she says it doesn't feel like she's attacking anyone. It's this Libra energy of being detached, so that she's able to express the reality of things without offending anyone. It's incredible. So now I want you to reflect for yourself where and how the Libra energy shows up. Where do you feel the most indecisive because you're constantly trying to weigh out the pros and cons? Where are you worried about offending someone or creating a disbalance because you're so worried about the harmony in a relationship or in a group setting? But also, where is aesthetic very important to you? Where do you desire or crave that need for something aesthetically pleasing? Also, where do you end up in unnecessary confrontations because you have been avoiding an uncomfortable conversation in order to maintain peace? So in what kind of relationship does it show up for you? In work, in your family, with your friends, or in your intimate relationship? Let me know in the comments down below. I would love to know the positive and the negative sides. Also, make sure to check out the other zodiac sign videos. You might discover something new about yourself. The playlist is going to be in the description box down below, so you can check it out. Otherwise, this is it for this video. Thank you so much for watching, and I see you in the next one.